right, so today we're going to be talking about ad set budgets versus CBO campaigns. So let me explain a little bit of background as far as what's been going on with Facebook. So earlier in 2019, Facebook basically announced that they were going to be making ad set budgets obsolete. So ad set budgets or ABO budgets, ad set budget optimization, this stands for ABO, has basically been the traditional way that Facebook has operated. Okay, where basically on the ad set level, you set the budget for that specific ad set. Now, they came out and said, look, we're doing away with ABO and we're going to move over completely to a CBO structure. And with CBO, basically, your budget is set on the campaign level. So CBO stands for Campaign Budget Optimization. Okay. So the issue with CBO campaigns, Facebook thought that these were going to be so much more superior. And for probably like 6 to 8 months, I was using them exclusively because I was under the impression that Facebook was just going to be completely doing away with ad set budget optimization. And to get ahead of the curve, I basically completely moved my media buying tactics over to CBO, thinking that ad set budget one day was just going to disappear from the Facebook platform. Okay. But what ended up happening is that the CBO campaigns basically were having some issues. And the biggest fundamental flaw with campaign budget optimization is basically how Facebook algorithm decides which ad set is a winner within the campaign. So how it traditionally worked is that right off the bat, Facebook was basically picking a winner within your campaign. So if you have one campaign, you could have 5 different ad sets in there. And Facebook was basically picking, hey, we think that this one's the best, so we're going to push all the budget towards this. And it worked okay, because what would end up happening is that when that creative or when that ad set ended up getting burned out, then some other things in the campaign could pick up and continue spending without having to refresh creatives or do anything. And honestly, it kind of worked okay. But basically, when Facebook announced that they actually weren't going to go, do away with ABO, basically this was like a month or 2 ago, I went heavy into testing ABO again. And the difference again with ABO versus CBO is that the budget is on the ad set level. So if you have 5 ad sets, instead of Facebook picking which ad set is the best, you would have an evenly distributed budget across those 5 ad sets. So here's what my findings were. So from my testing, by far, ABO performed better. So ABO for me now has been my preferred strategy for buying traffic. Okay, so one problem with CBO campaigns is that if you had a CBO campaign, basically it was never a good idea to put more than like 3 or 4 ad sets within a CBO campaign, because some of those ad sets just wouldn't spend. And it's a waste of time to go make like 25 different ad sets if only a couple or 1 or 2 of them are actually going to spend money. But with ABO budgets, we can really get an evenly distributed test across all those ad sets, which to me makes it a lot more favorable for running traffic. Okay, so before with CBO campaigns, we might in an ad account we might have to have 10 or 12 different campaigns with 3 or 4 ad sets within each CBO. Okay, with ad set budget optimization, we can really just have one campaign that has a bunch of ad sets within the campaign. And it's absolutely no problem. All of those ad sets will get ad spend, and it's just going to work well. Okay, so let's talk about the campaign structure with ad set budget. So with ad set budget, you could literally have one ABO campaign that has like 25 different ad sets in it that all have different targeting, that maybe have different creatives. And basically this makes it a lot easier to test, because while before CBO campaign was really only reaching about a couple of these ad sets out of the 25, and we would have to do all sorts of like weird tricks, like set minimum spends on the ad sets and do all kinds of stuff just to get it to spend. But it was not reliable, right? So what I'm advising now is basically to completely do away with CBO campaigns. Okay. Now, the campaign structure can still remain the same from our previous CBO video. So in the previous CBO video, we talked about having, one campaign with 3 or 4 ad sets, and, that was it, right? But the main difference, the only thing that's different now is that we can have a lot more ad sets within an ABO campaign and still get the spend on all of those ad sets. And we don't need to have multiple different campaigns. So if it was annoying before having, 10 or 12 different campaigns in an ad account that were all sort of doing the same thing, promoting the same thing, or, all for cold traffic, then if that was annoying for you before, then you're going to really love this, because it keeps everything really organized in one campaign if you want, right? Like you could have one ABO campaign for cold traffic, and that's it. That's all you really need. And if you wanted to make different campaigns for different segments, you could definitely do that. But you won't have to be forced to do that anymore like you were with CBO. So the main findings that I found is that, one, the spend has been more reliable. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to write all this out, but 2, it's been much better for scaling. Okay, so for scaling, ad set budgets have been a lot more reliable, because before, when you're increasing it on the campaign level, with the CBO campaign, let's say that you wake up one day, you're profitable the entire day, and then at midnight you go ahead and increase your budget on the CBO campaign. Well, with CBO campaign, things were so wild that, you could even have a CBO campaign with one ad set doing well, and then when you go to scale it, that same ad set goes bad, and it starts to reallocate things towards other things that aren't good either. And basically, it made scaling a little bit hard with CBO. And it still worked okay. I mean, you could still get decent results, but essentially the scaling has been way, way more reliable with ad set budgets, right? And with ad set budgets, we can just zero in on the one ad set that's really doing well. So we'll talk about a little bit of a scaling strategy here for ad set budgets. So basically, the scaling strategy that I would recommend for ad set budget optimization is basically when you find an ad set that's doing well, go ahead. You can use a similar scaling strategy to the CBO, but basically, when an ad set budget is doing well, when it comes to scaling the ABO campaigns, basically what I would suggest doing is increasing the budget on what's currently working in the campaign. So if you have 25 ad sets and one of those ad sets is doing well, by simply increasing the budget by 2 to 3x on the winning by midnight or by 9 a.m. at the latest, you can just get a little bit more juice out of the ad sets. And if you've got ad sets doing well, just start increasing the spend in the current campaign with the current ad sets, okay? So a 2 to 3x increase can really help bring more scale, okay? The next thing that you can do is duplicate these ad sets. And duplicating them with a higher budget can basically just bring a little bit more spend, right? So if you've got something that's working, try to maybe pause the original ad set so that there's not a whole lot of overlap and competition, and try just restarting it with a higher budget. So by duplicating and restarting with a much, much higher budget, like $500 or even $800 on the ad set, we can just really get more juice. So let me write this here, higher Budget. Sorry for my sloppy handwriting here, guys. Okay. So by restarting with a higher budget, we can just simply get more scale out of the campaigns. Okay. And this is pretty straightforward. And this scaling has been a lot more reliable than CBO campaigns. So to summarize this video, guys, ad set budget optimization has been our preferred method for running traffic. Basically, in the last couple months, we've moved off of CBO campaigns, and this is what I'm recommending. So go ahead and try ad set budgets out. Let me know what you find, and I hope this video is helpful. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys in the next video.